My previous videos were more about the technical details of optimizations and specific systems. So with a strong foundation in place for the world generation, I moved on to creating gameplay systems. Things like fishing, hunting, foraging, inventory systems, items, weapons, etc. With a lot of knowledge from the previous style of systems, when I create a new one, I ensure it is as modular and expandable as possible. 90% of the time coding is just getting a good foundation. It's difficult to show progress when almost all of it is behind the scenes, but I do have some actual gameplay mechanics to show this time. Firstly, the inventory system. This is the backbone for how the player is going to collect items and store weapons and tools. I made the inventory system first because it's a system that relies on other systems. So weapons and tools can function on their own, but the inventory relies on weapons and tools to fill those slots. So I start with the system that is dependent on others, not the independent systems. So the inventory is composed of a slot system. Tool slots have 3 states: primary, secondary, and equipment. When you select the tools you want to bring out, the backpack will fill these slots. If your current backpack setup holds 1 primary tool, 1 secondary, and 1 piece of equipment, you can't bring 3 primary tools with you. It is a match system for the type of tool. When it comes to the actual inventory storage, it functions like a generic grid system with a weight max. Each slot holds 99 of a certain item before it wraps to the next empty slot. The inventory is not UI either, it functions in the world. So I believe in keeping as much available screen space for the player as possible, especially in open world games. So the inventory is never permanently presented on the screen, you have to purposefully access it and ensure you're in a safe area. You can move items between slots and it keeps track of the total weight. Typical functions like dropping items and quick pickup exist. It also exists in such a way that inventories can be placed on anything: bows, trucks, boxes, chests, anything, as long as it has the attachment and it will function like an inventory. So with the base inventory done, I needed items to fill the slots and tools to fill the attachments. We can start with forageables. Forageables utilize a pretty extensive resource system. It almost acts like a mini entity component system. In the game, they're all the exact same thing and they drop the exact same thing. The only part of a forageable or item that differs is the data that makes it up. Things like the mesh, weight, name, ID, etc. But they all extend the same object. Forageables hold objects like the Bob simulator, interaction area, and the mesh. These are pretty much components that can be swapped out, added, or removed, and it won't change the forageable, but it will add behaviors to it. So when a forageable is spawned in the world, its type or data is defined by the humidity, temperature, and height where it was spawned. After it's spawned for the first time, it is tracked for loading and unloading. Each forageable extends a class called an interactable. This means the player is able to interact with it in some way, hence the interaction area. But in this case, it's harvesting. Forageables spawn with a random required amount of key presses to harvest, just to make it a little more interesting than just pressing the interaction key once. It has little dirt particles and some squash and stretch to make it feel better as well. Then the item pops out and you're able to pick it up. Forageables will also regrow over time. Now it sits in your inventory for future use. One of these uses is bait for traps. Baited traps will attract a specific animal based on what food you put in it. If you rig a trap with a raspberry, you'll only catch animals that consume that food. So this goes into my tool system with inventories. Tools are allowed to hold inventories. The tools themselves define what happens with that slot or inventory, so they can be upgrades, food, or whatever is defined. For traps, it is food or bait. Other tools are fishing poles and weapons such as spears, guns, bows, etc. But fishing is a pretty simple system. For right now, you just cast it out and nearby fish will become attracted to it. When a fish bites the hook, you have to click to set it. This initiates the minigame, with the difficulty depending on the type of fish you have on the line. It's a sort of radial skill check system that gets faster the more consecutive successes you get. The line can break if you miss too many checks or the fish gets too far away. When you finally reeled in, it just becomes another item you can pick up. Hunting is a game of tracking and sneaking, especially when using quieter weapons. Animals can see quite far away, so the objective is to hide and wait for the opportunity to attack them. When an animal is struck, depending on the weapon or ammo type, it will leave a blood trail, since projectiles stick to what they hit. This lets you track the fleeing animal to finish it off or wait for it to bleed out. Different weapons require different strategies. Hunting spears are a more close-ranged option, but they deal more damage and cause more blood. Bows allow for quieter, further hunting, but they take a little longer to reload and cannot hold ammo when put away. They cause less bleeding and you have to account for gravity just like spears. But bows, unlike spears, are a secondary weapon. This means you can bring a larger or more aggressive weapon alongside a bow. Guns are a very targeted way of hunting. It is a near guaranteed kill with the downside of scaring off all nearby animals. They pack the most serious damage and, depending on the ammo, a wide range of bleed levels. Guns are much more suited for large animals and predators. That sums up the majority of gameplay mechanics that have been introduced. I've worked on this world generation, animal AI, fish, and other things, but those aren't really front end. It's difficult to show progress on optimizations and system changes. With a lot of core weapons and items nearly finished, I'm getting a lot closer to a playable open world with goals and objectives for players. Thank you all for watching, and God bless.